That was a good noise, you were right.
It is a good noise.
But anyway, there's a question to be asked, as there always is. So, Elliott.
What's up?
So what if, right, a couple of months ago there was a roster move that left pretty much everyone completely baffled, especially because it led to Brollan being an IGL. But what if 2 months later, the person who got benched now seemingly has a new team? And it might have actually just been an upgrade for literally everyone involved?
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense. This is one of those moves that is just universally hated. And those moves never work, except this one just did. And for no reason. Are MOUZ just the luckiest team in the world? How has this worked?
I think so, because in any other world they would just be Sunderland. And they've just never had their Sunderland moment. I mean, there was that weird point with Dexter and NBK and whatever was going on, but even then they weren't completely hopeless.
No.
And we'll talk about current MOUZ in a little bit, but that's really worked. And now Siuhy is seemingly going to Liquid, which, number one, how the fuck have G2 let that happen? Because that is criminal.
Or maybe they know what MOUZ knew.
Well, possibly. But it's just a really good move for Liquid.
It seems it, doesn't it? It seems on paper that everybody's won here, except JKS.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think's next for him? Before we go more into... Because, I was thinking about it.
Or complexity.
Well, yeah, so I was thinking about it, and I was like, if he wants to try and hold on to Tier 1, which obviously FlyQuest get to go to events, but... getting JKS for Liaz is going to be a big improvement, but it's not going to be an improvement that makes them, competitive.
No, unless JKS somehow rolls it back to 2017, and they'll actually become because he was legitimately unbelievably.
Well, yeah, no, but he'd have to do that, and Vexite would also have to get a lot better.
Yeah,
I think
then it's not
the actual success
out of the realm of
hinges.
Possibility.
I think it actually hinges purely on Vexite. I think if you have Vexite being the same way Vexite is, then the team doesn't change at all with JKS over Liaz.
But if you have a star who is putting up numbers, it often drags everyone else up with it. It is a real thing. If you have one player who's just fragging out, it often drags players up with them.
They also would need ins to get back to ins levels.
Yeah, which I think
should
ins
happen.
Is too good. Yeah, he's too good to be bad for too long.
Yeah. But other than FlyQuest then, which I think we both agree is the obvious one, complexity, but even then, I think his ego would maybe prevent him from doing that.
I don't know how much of an ego he has. I mean, he probably does have some ego.
He might not now.
Well, he just seems like the type of guy who just wants to enjoy playing the game, and I don't think he's enjoying it on these teams. And I think...
Do you think he'd enjoy it playing with complexity?
Well, the expectations are lower. He gets to be a big fish in a small pond again. It's kind of just... I don't know. I feel like he'd enjoy it.
There is one Tier 1 team I think he has a single hope at being gone if he waits until after the major. Which, he's going to have to anyway. Do you have any idea who I think that might be? Because I am curious. You've got to think about moves that would happen in order to create a space for him.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I mean, I'm thinking... I'm going down the list. Vitality, no. Spirit, no. MOUZ, no. Na'Vi, no.
Where's MOUZ?
Question mark?
Where's MOUZ? If they lose Gym Fat, is JKS the worst option?
It's not the worst option. Also, I don't think he's the best. I'm not convinced Gym Fat leaves now. They're the second best team in the world.
I mean, fair enough. Like, I'm also not convinced he leaves, but like, I do think that's like, if JKS wants to stay on one of these like caliber teams, I really think that's his only hope.
I tell you who absolutely should sign him, but definitely won't, would be Astralis. He'd be just a nice piece for them to have.
Well,
who is reliable, which they just don't have at all.
Yeah, I mean, Astralis just like need to go international. I think we spoke about that last week, so we don't need to go back into it. But yeah, I do. I'll give you that one. But like in terms of in terms of Siuhy to Liquid, then otherwise we'll start justifying JKS for many teams for about 10 minutes. Like, is Siuhy to Liquid? What do you think? Like, you give them 3 to 6 months. What do you think? Like the minimum expectation is? Like, what does it have to be? Otherwise, it's just a failure.
A semi-final.
A singular semi-final in 3 to 6 months. Like Bike alone. All right. Let's say this move happens between events now. Bike alone.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think at the moment there's absolutely no danger whatsoever of them getting in a semi-final. So I think if they got in a semi-final, I'd be like, okay, this team is better. I want to see where this goes.
Okay, so end of the year then.
End of the year, a handful of top fours. Like my expectations for Liquid aren't that high because I just think I think Spirit and Vitality is just going to win pretty much every event. Oh, I did. Now I'm thinking, okay, MOUZ look like they can win some as well.
Because like the way I'm looking at it from the way the year's gone so far is that Liquid team with Siuhy has to be at least as good as MOUZ has been this year.
Has to be at least as good as MOUZ has been this year. I mean,
well, think about it, right? They're a finals contender. Yeah, they're also winning the event, and we've only had one so far, and I believe it's Bucharest is the next PGL event, isn't it? Or is it Astana? Yeah, it's Bucharest next. Like, that has a better team list.
yeah.
Fucking hell, that starts in 6 days. Like, that has a slightly stronger team list. Slightly.
Yeah. If I remember rightly, the Bucharest team list is really good.
It's
I liked it.
It's fun. I'm not sure it's good. But MOUZ aren't at that one. Liquid are for the sake of it. But like, I think that, you know, say Bucharest was in 2 months with the exact same team list, or 3 months with the exact same team list, I'd be looking at this Liquid team and being like, you've got to win that event.
Yeah.
Because like,
I know what you mean.
Well, I know we have a different view on them, but for me, like, Nerds, Twist, NAF, that's as strong as what MOUZ have going on. Like, Torzi is better than Ultimate, fine.
Yeah.
But even with what MOUZ are achieving, we'd both probably say Siuhy over Brollan as an IGL, right?
Well, I would have done a few weeks ago. I'm not sure I would now.
Well, yeah. But let's say, just for the sake of it, that in 3 months we'd still say Siuhy over Brollan.
Okay.
Then balancing the scales on what I've just said, should they be the same level as MOUZ? Because I feel like they should. I really feel like they should.
It kind of depends on... Yimfat versus Twist is really close. Exertion versus... I guess it's Exertion versus Nerds, isn't it?
And it's Nerds every day of the week.
On a stage, yeah.
No, Exertion's been like really, really good recently. Like, even on stage he's been decent. But Nerds is better.
Check his final stats again.
That's against Vitality. We can fucking let him off for that.
No rest for the wicked.
He did body Eternal Fire.
Nerds is probably better than Exertion. Twist versus Yimfat's actually really close. I think Spinks is a level above NAF, though. I really do.
Maybe, but I think they go about the roles in different ways.
Yes, definitely. But I think Spinks is better. I think Spinks has an ability to take over a game more than NAF does. NAF if Naf's the top fragger, it's usually in a quiet way. Spinks.
Okay, let's flip it. Naf versus Jimfat. Twist versus Spinks.
That's tough.
Yeah.
But
so this is my thing, right? These two teams should be on a level with each other.
Yeah, but Siuhy didn't win with MOUZ. Brollan did. Or it didn't, but he was a lot closer. So
Carrigan didn't win with Astralis.
yeah.
He won with FaZe and they won without him. So there's already precedent for this shit happening.
Yeah, I know. But
Like, that's just what I think they need to be. But feel like we've spoken about that enough. The only other thing worth mentioning with the story is that Mytha is already gone from Liquid. Not really surprised, if I'm honest. He always seemed like, even with what had happened with Apex, Mytha always seemed a bit odd. I think the interesting thing is who they get now. Because, like, Streets are saying... Like, Streets are saying Cuban. And it's like...
I think somebody made that up. And it just...
Well, yeah, but
ran with it.
Yeah, I think people ran with it because he posted a photo of himself in New York or something, or LA.
Yeah,
but that also could have been made up. I don't fucking know. I don't care enough to know. But like, I just think Cuban would be an odd one.
Yeah, it would. But it wouldn't be the first time esports teams have made an odd move, especially for coaches. Like you just you don't know what coaches do, so it's really hard to.
Like we both know what the money one is.
Zonic.
No.
It's Ash, but
it is Ash. Like
Zonic in 3 months when he gets kicked from Falcons.
Ash.
Interesting.
Ash on that Liquid, like I'd be quite excited for that Liquid.
Yeah,
I am anyway. I am anyway, but I'd be like very excited for that Liquid.
Whilst Ash to literally anyone is a good move for anyone, I kind of like him just being on Game Allegiant. Like, we need somebody like Game Allegiant to keep finding this talent because these tier 1 teams are not going to find it. So let Game Allegiant do it and just make money selling them.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Like I think the scene as a whole gets weaker if Ash moves to a big team, even though it would make the big team better.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I've got very little to say to that, if I'm honest. Like that is just correct.
It's like when Tabson was on Big and it was rumoured to go to G2. It's like, no, because I like watching Tabson actually play the game. I don't want Tabson to be Carrigan. I want Tabson to be trying to hard carry Big, which he can't do anymore, and it's really sad. He's lost all the sauce. But
yeah, it's sad. At least Santares finally got his team.
Yeah, and now he's bottling semi-finals.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but let's move on anyway. One of our favourite teams to mention every time we possibly can, NiP, are close to making an event. By the time this goes out, we'll know if they have or not, because they play Metizport in the final of the PGL Astana. Am I saying that right? I don't really know.
Yeah.
Qualifier tomorrow. I believe it's at like 4 p.m, 3 p.m, something like that
something
for
like
us.
that, yeah.
Quite a weird game, actually. Like, do you know who's on Metizport?
It's like 4x.
Yeah. It's like actually just like it's NiP.
It's just
it's
NIP reserves.
It's NiP versus what NiP should be. It's what, a dog shit Swedish team?
Yeah. Why would they bother when they could build this ridiculously sourced? This is the only NIP team I've ever thought was decent in my entire life.
I really hope they win that.
Actually, I liked Draken, but
like, I actually can't explain how sad I'll be if Metizport win that game.
Yeah, it's like I just like Snappy. I just want Snappy to do well. I just think he's a good character. I think he's a good player, and he finally got his shot at a super team, and then they didn't get him Nico that he was supposed to have, and it's like,
yeah, they just let him down. But the team is just like, overall, the team is saucy. We need them at events because your alternatives are the teams that we moan about every week. We're not going to do that this week, so I'm not going to mention any of them by name. I refuse.
I
But Nick
sort of mentioned one about a minute ago. But...
Yeah, I mean, like, a couple of them have come up, but that's not the point. The point is that Nip need to be at events. So let's hope they win. I don't know when you're going to edit this, Mac, but if you happen to edit it after that game has been played, if they lost, please put some sad music here. Just
and some tears on our face.
Yeah, and some tears on our faces. That would be good. Make it black and white as well. Anyway, let's move on. Move on. So, one thing I wanted to talk about this week is it was a clip from HLTV Confirmed, which I shared with you a couple of days ago, which will probably be on the screen now, or maybe it'll play. I don't really know. Anyway.
We refuse to play any HLTV Confirmed.
I see. But, so, in the clip, Sponge talks about EliGE and the fact that he's not on complexity anymore. He's on a better team and he's getting the positions he wants. So, what does he mean that he's not confident? Which is something interesting in the first place. But I saw a guy at Psychological HD on Twitter retweet this
Poor
saying...
name, by the way.
Really shit.
Try harder.
Mentioned this when it came out, but I think the no confidence thing is because he can't trust half the team. Basically, complexity all over again, except instead of Grim and Floppy, it's Brokey and Rain. And honestly, I think he wants to be rid of most of the roles he's playing. And I'm just so
Absolutely
baffled by
insane.
I'm so baffled by it.
EliGE's just... Look, EliGE's a good player, but at some point, we have to stop making excuses. He can't always be the victim on these teams. Complexity had poor players, but he was dropping big numbers. FaZe... of course, FaZe will never win anything with Brokey and Rain. Who would ever think they could win a major? They fucking won a major with these.
And a Grand Slam, which included a Cato and a Cologne.
Yeah, and Brokey was MVP at that Cato. Rain was MVP at the major. I am the CEO of the Rain hating club. But to compare him to what Floppy was when EliGE's there, even I'm offended.
I'm now just intrigued to look at a couple of the replies because it is just completely fucking...
It's an absolutely mental thing.
I think this is a decent reply. Rain and Brokey can't play the game because some bum is giving out free entries on his favourite spots. Rain back to yard, please. True. EliGE's fucking sucked there so far.
Yeah, the thing that Rain offers you is stability in these positions, and he's been playing these positions for so long, and he hasn't been found out yet. Just don't take him off them. Just don't take him off them.
So this is the other part that confuses me. I think he wants to be rid of all the roles he's playing. Then why is he fucking in them?
Yeah. He's got Connector on Mirage. Nobody gets that when they don't want it, let me tell you.
You had motherfucking Rain, who is, like you said, incredibly consistent. And for my money, I know you'd maybe say Dupree is probably the closest example, but I think in Rain's roles, he probably is just the best of all time, just purely on longevity. And his capacity in big games.
Fur was also sensational in a lot of the same positions Rain has on T side. Some of them on CT side. He used to play toilets a lot.
Yeah, true.
Fur basically invented the way people play toilets for a long, long time. Fur was sensational. Dupree, on T side, the greatest ever. But even Dupree's fallen off now.
Well, that's what I mean. Pure longevity. Rain is unmatched.
Yeah.
Everyone else changed at some point or just dropped off. They're in oblivion now. They're fucking gone.
Yeah, Rain has never been found out, which is astounding when he has been studied. In some positions, I think he's probably the most studied player in the world. Mirage A site, he's probably the most studied player on that position.
100%.
He's played it for so long and he's never been found out. He's never been a problem on that site. I say, as much as I used to not like Rain, whatever, he is very good at his roles and he will rarely let you down. It's It's so unreasonable to compare him to any complexity player. It's so unreasonable.
Yeah. I've said on record multiple times that I think Brokey is a complexity level player. But not the fucking complexity that fucking EliGE was playing on. Like,
not anymore.
And definitely not this one.
No, Brokey was a complexity level player when EliGE was on it. He's not a complexity level player when EliGE isn't on it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, fair. Like, just a completely brain dead take, and still somehow not the take of the week. So,
no.
Let's talk about this, because this is one of the worst takes we've ever seen, and like, I actually don't know whether it is bait, because most people on Twitter are just the biggest fucking idiots I've ever come across.
I implore everyone, once you say the @ to go and look at this guy's pin tweet, because it's just brilliant.
Wait, I haven't looked at this. Okay.
We'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, Mac.
I don't even know why.
Put it on the screen,
I don't
mate.
know why it's so funny.
But it's so he's
dear.
he's at @banpods __, and he tweeted, "Zypoo could never be a top 10 rifler. Donk could be a top 3 AWPer."
Before you go into this, his follow up to this, which I've only just seen, was Zypoo getting humbled slowly but surely. Sorry, he's not even a top 3 AWPer. I made a mistake on that other tweet. Now that is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean...
That is perfect.
Do you know what? Maybe it is bait. I reckon it probably is.
It's definitely not serious, but it's so good.
But it's just like... It's so mental. It's so good. Like, it's so... I adore it. I really do adore it, because it's just so stupid. But I do actually want to talk about it with some degree of seriousness, because I think we both agree Zypoo is a top 10 rifler based on the amount that he does rifle.
Yeah.
Like I went through it when I first sent you this, and like I can't actually get 10 riflers I think are better than him.
No, not without like, you know, putting in like MOUZ or something for a laugh. Like, I am struggling.
Yeah.
Past like Donk, JL when he can be asked.
Bit,
yeah. Bit when he doesn't have to move.
Nico.
Spinks.
Well, yeah, so it's like Nico, Spinks, throw them up there.
But then I'm not even actually sure Spinks is a better rifler than Zypoo.
Yeah, fine. I'm completely fine. Nerds, I'd say he's like up there.
Yeah, I don't think he's better than Zypoo.
Oh, I just think
Like,
Nerds is ridiculously good, to be honest,
Oh,
mate.
he is really good, but like...
Xantares.
Now we're talking.
Like, no, but like Xantares 100%. Not sure I'd put any of the Mongols players above Zypoo.
No, I don't think man for man they're actually like that filthy. Mazzinho is probably their best player, but
yeah. So like Zypoo is a top 10 rifler, but the thing I actually find interesting is like, would Donk be a top 3 AWPer?
yes, he would. Yeah,
But who's he knocking out the top 3?
all of them. He'd be the best.
Would he?
Yeah, that guy's reaction times are inhuman.
Yeah, but AWPing is so like different, and me and you spoke about this before. Like people who often like pick up AWPs as a second AWP typically can't actually translate.
No, I know. There is no way on earth you will ever convince me if Donk didn't. If Donk decided to AWP within 6 months, he'd be the best AWPer in the world. 100%.
I'd like to see it.
There's no doubt in my... Remember, like, Simple was a rifler, and then he just decided to AWP, and he was just... Like, people who are elite riflers, if they really commit to AWPing, they can just do it.
Out of interest, before we move on, top 3 AWPers, how do you rank them? Because I assume we've got the same list of 3. m0NESY, Zypoo, Shiro.
m0NESY, Zypoo...
It's Torzy or Shiro, and I think it's
Yeah, I
Shiro.
really like Torzy.
I really like Torzy.
I do really like
But I do
Torzy.
think it probably is Shiro. At least for now. We can talk again in like 6 months, but at least for now.
It probably is. But I do... It's close between him and Torzy. Really close. And I think Shiro's decidedly third as well. Like it's... I would say, as an AWPer, Monacy is better than ZywOo.
Okay, we're in agreement then.
As a player, it's probably the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, ZywOo is a better... Monacy's a good rifler. ZywOo's like an elite rifler and an elite AWPer.
Yeah.
Monacy's a better specialist AWPer, but...
I do think Monacy's ridiculous with a rifle, though. He's just
of course.
Maybe not ZywOo ridiculous.
Yeah. No, he's like... Obviously, he's still a very, very good player with an AK-47. It's just... ZywOo, as we've just mentioned, is like probably like the 5th best rifler in the world. So it is just a case of like... ZywOo is probably a better player. It's just, I think Monacy... But I think if Donk AWP'd, he would look a lot like what Monacy does. I think he'd just do the same things as Monacy.
I think that's fair.
I just think mechanically he'd be so good, it wouldn't even matter that for the first 3 months he wouldn't know where to stand.
Yeah, it would probably be a lot like when AWPer had Monacy. And everyone got... Like, AWPer just got blamed for G2 being a bit bad, and it was like, well, they can only play 3 maps because this kid actually, like... doesn't know what he's doing on half of them, but at least he looks good when he does it.
You know, Chopper took Donk into tier 1 and won everything immediately. That's not...
I do think it's a bit different when it's your strat is, hey, Donk, run out there and kill, compared to having...
Maybe AWPer should have tried it then.
Yeah, but it's like, you can't do that with an AWPer.
You can't.
But Chopper can. But anyway, we're not even speaking about the right AWPer here, Elliott, because a new AWPer, or should I say old AWPer, who wasn't ever really an AWPer, but still AWPed more than the guy that you think AWPed more than him in the greatest time of his career, is back. That was a very long-winded way of saying.
I genuinely don't know who you're talking about.
It's Stewie, mate.
Oh God, yeah. I even... If you heard us typing a little bit earlier, it's because I was saying we'd forgotten to mention this because I'd immediately repressed it from my brain after hearing it. I just refused to believe it.
Yeah. And not only is he back, not only is Stewie back, he's also recorded the best map of his career.
I didn't even know this.
Did you not?
I just heard he was back. No, I didn't even.
It was against... Who was it against?
My head's been in the clouds.
Might. It's against Might.
I mean, fine, but...
And it was the Dust 2 game.
Oh, yeah.
He went 23-5 with a 2.87 rating.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. But he is playing against, like, Voltage and Snakes.
I mean, look.
And they're the 2 best players on this team.
I didn't look, mate. I didn't say that he did it against a good team. But we still weren't expecting him to do that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, him shitting on Americans is what he was supposed to do.
I'd like to point out that in his first game, which is against a team called Daku, which has no name on that I've ever seen before, he did go 19-24 in 2 maps.
I think I've heard of Icarus. But
Both of which were comfortably won by Wildcard. Because, yeah, we haven't even mentioned that part, I don't think. Stewie's playing for Wildcard in a qualifier. Probably to get around some VRS bullshit.
It's definitely to get around the fact that they would have to play in EU.
Yeah, it's definitely to do that.
100%.
And yeah,
as we record, they're currently playing M80 in it, by the way, which is...
How's it going?
They're on map 1, 4-1 down. I'm going to put it on my other screen and have a look while we're recording.
Right, but yeah, so a completely random thing that Stewie is back, and
yeah, it came out of nowhere almost. Like there was like the rumor started like one day before when they posted a video of them flashing themselves through a smoke, and people were like, "Are you serious?" And then they like announced Stewie was replacing He's replacing phzy as their main AWPer,
For the qualifier.
which is just bad. They were a good team, and I don't think this move makes them better. I think,
But it's only... No, it is only temporary, isn't it?
well, it's only temporary unless they actually qualify.
So he'll have to play PGL if they qualify.
If they qualify, I think so. Yeah, I'm certain that if they do well with Stewie and actually qualify, they'll keep it. Why else would they do it? Wouldn't make sense.
Well, the VRS shit.
Yeah, but
Surely
doing
it's
it to
just...
get in the NA qualifier. They won't be able to get in the NA qualifier for the major. They're doing it to get... They clearly want to be in the NA qualifier for the major. They want to have Stewie in NA for the major. They get an easier route. They get an American team.
I think I hadn't thought about this enough. I really thought it was only temporary. It's... That is concerning, isn't it?
I think it's like they want to be... Because Valve changed the rules, remember? So that you didn't get to choose which qualifier you're in for the major. You're in whichever the better one is. So Wildcard would have had to play in Europe.
That is very concerning.
And they went, okay, we need another North American player. So we're going to find the best one. And for some reason they decided it was Stewie AWPing was their best bet over phzy. And
But, like, so the lock is April 7th, right? So they could just swap out Stewie for phzy then, and they'll be in the NA what are they called? What are they called, the qualifiers?
MRQs?
Yeah, that sounds right. MRQs.
Major regional qualifiers?
Yeah. So surely if they swap him back after the 7th, they'll be in the NA one either way, and likewise, if Liquid are making the move, they'll dump JKS after the 7th.
If the lock is the 7th, I mean, I guess they could have phzy as coach. But, I mean, they're currently playing with Stewie.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
he's top ranking. I can see it on the live scoreboard.
They're playing with him. Like, it's not like they're playing with phzy to get ready for the... And then they're just going to pretend Stewie's playing. Like, they're actually, like, cracking... Like, this isn't... I don't think they're doing this... I don't think this is a temporary thing. I think
I'm really confused by this now. Can we move on? Because, like, okay. I'm really confused.
You thought Stewie was just there as a...
I thought he was just a way. I just thought he was a loophole.
Well, he sort of is, except I think they're going to have to play with him.
Can someone let us know, please, if you know more than we do? Please just comment and tell us what's going to happen here. Because, yeah, I really thought it was temporary, but you seem convinced it's not, and you've thrown me off. I won't lie to you.
That's what I thought. I thought that was the case. I thought it was they're playing with him because they're trying to get to the major, and Valve changed the rules. They're just going to send an American team.
Well, shit.
That's what I think. I could be wrong.
All right. Well, let's just hope someone comments, and if not, maybe like Mac might know, and Mac will message us while he's editing.
phzy's joining Metizport to make it 5x NIP players.
So, but yeah,
that may or may not be true. I've no idea. I genuinely have no idea. Just that would make sense.
Cool. All right, cool. Fair enough. Mac, if you do know, actually, it might be worth just putting a bit of context to clarify on the screen as well. You could do that now.
Anyway, sorry. I was just saying that I'm not sure what the situation is for them. I just know that they got put in a tough spot because Valve changed their system in terms of like having a certain amount of Europeans, North Americans, whatever. I don't know what their situation is, but they got put in a tough spot, and phzy couldn't play in the Astana qualifiers and it's a big deal for Wildcard because they need to make the major. And obviously, whether I'm gonna be there with them or not, or be there as a player or not, I mean.
Okay, I'm going to give you the time to have done that. There's a little space for you to fill with words.
I really hope he just puts a little insert of him shrugging.
That would be good. Do that, man.
That would be really
Do
good.
that. But anyway, we've got a tournament to talk about, as we always do. Blast Open Lisbon happened, and you'll be really surprised to find out that Vitality won the fucking thing.
I will say, I tried to be a little bit different and say MOUZ are going to win it. And I was remarkably close.
You were a lot closer than I thought you'd be.
Yeah. I was a lot closer than I thought I'd be.
I said Vitality, didn't I?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, of course I did. I'd always go with the fucking boring one. But yeah,
I mean, it's really hard to pick anyone other than Vitality. I only did it because I was, voter fatigue.
Yeah, let's start from the quarters though. Do you want to do MOUZ first, or do you want to do Spirit first?
Start MOUZ because I think chronological order.
Okay, let's start MOUZ. So MOUZ's quarterfinal, they played G2, and let me tell you, that game was not fucking close. I've said it.
Spirit.
I know I've said it for quite a few weeks now, but fuck me, this G2 team is miserable to watch. And there is no way that they aren't considering changes, because they fucking have to be. Like, they are so far off it, man.
G2 Boomich.
Yeah?
I've said my piece.
Yeah, I'm down.
G2 Boomich.
Anything's got to be better than fucking snacks, mate.
Boomich just kind of screams G2 to me, I don't know.
He does.
Something about him.
I do get that.
Something about him.
Yeah, they are.
It would be better if he was still big and then he could actually replace Snacks.
I honestly don't think that they make it through a Swiss system at the major. They're gonna
I think they do.
Nah, they're gonna have to sacrifice some shit to the Wicker Man in hopes that they actually fucking get to play in an arena, because they're just terrible, man. And if they don't get completely hard carried, which I kind of know was always the case, but as we've said, they don't have firepower.
They used to have 3 hard carries, so it was fine.
They're just awful, man. And when you've got because admittedly he didn't have the best time in the semi-final or the final, but when you've got Exertion dropping a 1.83 on you on a fucking stage, go home. Why did you even fucking turn up?
To be fair to them, Lisbon is a really nice city.
Yeah, great.
It's really cool. That's why they turned up.
God, they're just so bad. And one thing I did want to say, because I know the Eternal Fire game doesn't look great for Exertion, and neither does the final, but I'll excuse them on that on the basis they were playing fucking Vitality. I think it's going to be really interesting because generally the MOUZ players are performing better on stage now under Brollan.
Yeah,
wouldn't it be interesting if Liquid struggle on stage with Siuhy?
It would, but also Liquid haven't seen a stage in years, so probably get a nosebleed.
I'm sure as well. I'd need to look this up, but I'm sure Nertz struggled in stages the few times he played on them.
Yeah, I think you're right. He hasn't. The thing that people forget about Nertz, he's actually still quite young and inexperienced.
He's inexperienced. I wouldn't say he's young. Isn't he 24, 25?
Is it? I thought he was a little younger.
He's 25. Well, because there was that whole thing.
Okay.
There was that whole thing in what would it been 23, where the Rookie of the Year was Ima,
yeah.
It was Ima, JL, and fucking Nerds. It's they're all 24 years old. These guys aren't exactly rookies, but it's just it's rookies in tier 1.
Yeah, and Nerds, he shot up from endpoint to ends really quickly, and it was he actually didn't have that much adjustment. He was just really good, so he's still not played that many games. Really,
he's probably played the amount of stage games where actually I can still let him off. But you've got Twist and Nath who've both won a shit ton. Where it's all right, I'm not gonna let you two off. And Ultimate, I'd give him the benefit of the doubt for a little bit.
Ultimate, I really hope he's one of those players who really levels up on stage.
I think he probably will be.
I got that feeling. Yeah, you just kind of get that feeling about him, like a bit of the brokey about him, where he's just kind of mediocre half the time, and then just gets on stage and he's just ice cold.
And the nice thing about it as well is they're also polar opposites in play style.
Yeah,
It would make like phase versus liquid really interesting.
yeah.
Like them doing peak form, who wins?
It's like Tom and Jerry.
Who do you think would
Brokey's running away.
phase versus liquid with Ultimate and Brokey playing at peak levels? Which of the play styles comes out on top? Brokey?
Well, FaZe would win. Yeah,
I feel like Brokey's the one that wins that fight.
Brokey's actually a very good anti-AWPer.
Yeah,
If you know what I mean.
good old man
like
marker.
Like Alu used to be. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's really good at man marking. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
actually very good at that. Like FaZe, a lot of the time would win on stage because the opposition AWPer just didn't have the same impact, and Brokey would just quietly drop like 35.
Yeah. So, all right, that quarterfinal miserable. The other quarterfinal also miserable because Na'Vi are also just so far off it, man.
I don't know what's wrong with them.
I mean, Bit just had the worst event of his career.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was possible for Bit to play as badly as he did at this event.
Yeah, you just kind of don't ever think he could be this bad because his mechanics are so good. That
And he was
just
awful.
Sort of bail himself out. This team's just got some like, if you know, there's been that whole thing on Twitter of people being like turned into like cartoons and anime.
Yeah.
If you do it with Na'Vi, there's like stink lines coming off them. The vibes are so bad.
I will say as well, like I've been quite nice to Wonderful these past few weeks. I feel like where my point is always like, who else do you fucking get, mate? He's missing some fucking shots.
Yeah,
He's missing some shots that you
whole-
cannot miss.
the whole team is off. Like it's not when you're talking. You know, we sort of mock that tweet about Bit Wonderful and it's like, no, actually, they're both rubbish at the moment. Imma's bad at the moment. JL is not the player he was when they won the major.
JL is like fucking hopeless at the moment, man.
Yeah, and he was their top fragger in this game.
Yeah,
Like,
I really don't know
There's
what they
just
do
something seriously wrong.
because it does feel like a team that needs a roster move.
It does, but I don't even know what roster move you can make to this team.
Oh, I know who it is, but I don't think it will happen because of a flag.
Well, quite.
It is Monacy. It has to be Monacy. If they ever want to get back to the level that they were at, you have to sign Monacy. You have no choice. So,
I don't know. Phzy's on the market.
don't make me go into that one. I don't want to do that to him. He doesn't deserve that. I mean, they've just chose to play with Stewie 2K over him, for fuck's sake. But yeah, I feel like they have to make a roster move.
Yeah, but at the same time, I look at this team. I'm like, just be good. What are you doing?
It's probably
just stop arguing with each other.
It probably is like motivational as well, and it's what we said about JL a couple of weeks ago. Like, someone needs to sit down with JL and be like, what do you actually want at this point in your career? What is it you want? Because if it's the Grand Slam, you're going the wrong fucking way about it. And if you can't say that the Grand Slam means as much to you as anything else, just go be a streamer, bro.
I have to say,
go play all these shitty games and make a fucking bag because you're a lot funnier than Shroud is.
I have to say though, winning the major like your second attempt and then basically never bothering to play well again.
Spoiler.
I have incredible level of respect.
Yeah, complete baller.
If he actually just lost motivation, he's gone so far off in my estimations.
He just achieved everything. Like, I'm done now.
Yeah. If I won the major, I'm turning up to the next like 5 events in slippers. I'm not trying. I wouldn't open the game for months. If I won the major.
People would just be looking at the chat logs from the game, and it would just be you constantly like unboxing shit every time you died. It'd just be stickers from the major that you won, just like, oh, I've got one.
I absolutely love the story of the story of Flusher.
Which one?
Like
There's many.
when other people were warming up, he would just sit at his
yeah.
computer spinning his major winner coin
Yeah.
and looking around. Amazing. The best esports story ever. So good. He didn't bother warming up. He would just spin his coin that said he'd won the major, and then he'd shit on it. The greatest ever.
JL should do that. It might actually like make him remember where his mouse is.
No, honestly, don't bother. Just keep stinking up the place, taking your paychecks.
Just be a baller and move on. Anyway, let's talk about the second semi-final. And I know we the first semi-final. Sorry, I know we spoke about this a bit last week or the week before with Eternal Fire and this choking narrative. I don't feel like we need to talk any more about MOUZ other than saying that Torzy's really gone up in new gear, and like we kind of mentioned that earlier. Torzy is just fucking insane right now.
Yeah.
This Eternal Fire choking narrative is so fucking lazy, man.
I don't think it's that late because it's not
so lazy.
No,
look at who they've lost to.
Yes, but they put up much better performances against these teams when they're not on stage. They don't take maps on stage. It's not like they lose every series 2-1. They don't take maps on stage.
What was their road to the semi-finals? They beat Liquid 2-0 comfortably. They beat G2 2-13-10s. And they beat Na'Vi pretty comfortably. They then played against MOUZ, who we both agree are the second best team in the world right now.
Yeah, but it's not.
And
about,
they went
like...
13-11, 13-10 with Xantares playing shit. We can call Xantares a choker. I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that.
But this keeps happening with Eternal Fire. They keep
How
winning
many times it
in
happened?
group stages.
How many times does it happen?
4 or 5. I don't know.
Is it that many?
I can't recall specific events on the top of my head. It's happened a few times. But it's like they just don't take maps on stage where they do.
I'm going back through it. I'm doing it now. So Lisbon stage, they lose to MOUZ. You arguing with that? I'm not arguing with that.
No, but
okay.
As a one-off, it's fine.
Pro League was a studio, which people tried to make it playoff chokers. Then they lost 2-1 to Spirit. You fine with that?
Yeah, but that's
not
an
I'm
arena.
fine with that.
That's not an arena.
It's not, but it happened.
They took a map.
Cluj, they lost to Falcons, which, okay, we might say is bad, right? But they'd played Falcons a fair few times at that point. Like, it's probably one of the teams that Falcons are better equipped to play against right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that's what they'll tell you, because the fucking data they've gotten them of shit like that. And really, who played badly in that game? That's the 3D Max game before it. Who played badly in that game out of interest? Major and Woxic.
Oh, okay.
Well, Wicadia was 44 and 48. Jota was the only guy who went positive. But Woxic and Major didn't get 40 kills. Kato, they lost 2-0 to the Mongols. The Mongols have had their number pretty much always.
But again, they didn't take a map on stage.
They got fucking close. It was a big ass overtime in that.
Yeah, they got close.
When was the last time they played on stage before that?
They lost to Na'Vi at the major.
Which major?
The one Na'Vi won.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure, just having a quick look here, that was the fucking time before that they played on stage.
They didn't win on stage.
Yeah, so it's a bit fucking lazy, isn't it?
But they're like 0-8 on stage.
But look,
they haven't won a map on stage. They played Falcons.
They
Mongols,
got a map against Falcons.
Na'Vi before they won a major.
They got a map against Falcons.
Okay, they're 1-8. They're 1-8 on stage.
But
they played Na'Vi before they won a major.
But look at the teams that they've lost
Na'Vi
those
weren't that
maps
good
to.
then. Na'Vi weren't that good then.
Oh yeah,
Falcons
they weren't
aren't
that
good.
They weren't that good. They just won the entire fucking thing.
But nobody thought they were good then.
They still won the fucking major
like
because
the-
of whatever
they were like the
magic
fifth
they
best-
had going on.
Okay, if you lose to Cloud9 in Boston, it's still like You said like, well, you probably should have beat them if you were a top 14. When FaZe lose to Cloud9 in Boston, you don't go, oh, well, it's not an upset because Cloud9 won the major.
Okay, let's try it this way, right? At the time, would you have said Na'Vi were a better team than Eternal Fire?
They were about the same.
Fine. Fine. But it's just fucking lazy, man. Like, it's so...
The Mongols are about the same level. Falcons are worse, and they didn't beat either of them. They didn't take a map off
the Mongols
and they lost to Falcons.
The Mongols lost to fucking Astralis at the same event, like.
Exactly.
It's not fuck about here.
Exactly, and Eternal Fire still didn't take a map off them.
I just think it's fucking lazy, man. Like, if they keep making all these playoffs, and then, like, let's say they make playoffs at one of them events where it's like, oh, 9Z have made the playoffs. Them type of stupid things, and we can talk about it. But they played against MOUZ at this one, and everyone's like, they played against MOUZ, who are the closest team to beating Vitality so far, and they're just like, well, they're just chokers, aren't they? They're just shit. No, this game was on Xantares. If Xantares bothered to turn up at all, they would have won a map at least, and maybe taken the series. It's not on the
case. There's always one who doesn't show up.
It's not on the entire team, and I don't think we can have a go at them for losing against a team that is just the second best in the world.
But
because they're not on that level.
No, I understand. As a one-off, this one's fine. It's the fact that they don't win on stage. They're 1-8 in maps.
But they also just haven't had that many opportunities. That's my point.
No,
they haven't had that many opportunities.
Yeah, but like, really good teams don't need that many opportunities.
But they're not a really good team, and that's the point.
Exactly.
So why is everyone pretending like they are?
Because that's what they're aspiring to be. The block for them between becoming a genuine top 4 team is that they don't do it on stage, because they're good enough to get to semi-finals through the group stage, but they're not good enough to win in. That is their block. Is that they're not as good on stage as they are.
Here's my thing, then. Right, we can start talking about this shitty narrative being real if and when they play Na'Vi on stage. If they play Na'Vi on stage, and Na'Vi kind of look like they do right now, and it's not back to Na'Vi peak levels where fucking no one was beating them, then fine. But they just smacked Na'Vi and then went against a team that's a whole lot better than Na'Vi right now, so it's pointless. But if Na'Vi right now plays Eternal Fire on stage, who do you think should win?
Eternal Fire should win.
Okay, so...
But I think they should have beaten Falcons.
The narrative's fucking tired until then. Out of interest, now, Heroic last year that you were really, really high on, and I know it's a different team on Falcons, but you were really high on that Heroic team. Who's better, them or Eternal Fire?
Eternal Fire.
Okay, fair enough. I have nothing to say to it. I just wanted.
Heroic were 7th or 8th in the. No, I had Heroic 6th in the world.
I was going to say, you said they were 6th in the world, I think.
Yeah, they were 6th in the world, and I think I was proven pretty right on that.
Well, yeah, they made playoffs. Eternal Fire didn't. For what it's worth, and this Falcons team does contain the core. Just saying.
It does, but
and Nico
doesn't have nerds.
Has Nico?
Yeah, but it doesn't have nerds.
Sadly, it just also has Sonic, who I think has he might have lost it.
Nico, the world's best loser.
Yeah, I did set you up for that one. Right, back to Blast Open. The second semi-final, Vitality Spirit. Kind of strange, actually, because I didn't expect Spirit to bounce back and win a map incredibly comfortably after losing the first one comfortably.
It looked cooked, and then
it looked very cooked. Then
Spirit, they are good at nuke. They are when they won the major, they were really good at nuke. Even before that, nuke was always a map. Because do you know what it is about nuke? I think it's Magic's best map. I'm not certain on that, but I remember like when I used to be a big fan of Magic's anyway before this team.
He played
and
very
I
good
always
in that one.
I always remember him as a very good nuke player. He used to be there like he used to be a like a lobby player, but he was just very, very good at picking his moments to go aggressive. I always thought he was a very, very good nuke player, and he plays. I think he plays on the A side, on the CT side as well. He's very good at it, and I think that really helps them because I think Zontix at ramp is like the most obvious fit of any player ever.
Yeah,
That he's just such a ramp player. Donk outside is just a perfect role for him. It's a fucking wide open space for him to do whatever the fuck he wants. It's perfect for a player like him. Shiro, like, it's a defensive AWPing map, I always think. Like, you're always the second man. If you're down secret, you're the second outside player. If you're at ramp, you're the second ramp player. Like, perfect for him. I think it just suits them. And they're just really good at nuke.
but they still lost.
Well, yeah.
They still lost
the series.
And it is just another game that exposes there's a fucking gap between these two teams.
Yeah, there is.
And
Like,
again, like with Na'Vi and what we were saying, I don't think they can close this gap with the 5 players they have.
Vitality will tail off.
They will.
And
But like so Vitality will tail off from the level of current dominance, right? Like no one can sustain this for that long. Like even Astralis wouldn't have been able to do that.
Astralis was a simpler time.
It was a simpler time, and they skipped some events, whatever. But I think they'd have to drop off past what their expected regular level would be.
Yeah.
Well, what's the phrase Harry always use? Regression to the mean or whatever.
Regression to the mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they'd have to drop off past that. For spirits, like mean to consistently match theirs.
But it doesn't need to consider. Spirit will win an event this year. Like,
Yeah,
they
of course
will
it
win an event, and Donk will
course it
drop a 1.5 in it, and they'll win. So it's like they don't actually have to be consistently better as long as they peak at the right time.
Do you think it'll be like Liquid though, like 2019
Liquid and Astralis.
where Liquid are only winning those events because they're not coming up against Astralis?
No, because I think actually MOUZ probably beats Spirit most of the time at the moment. So I think there's MOUZ being good actually gives us a top 3 again instead of a top 2, which is always more.
No, but this is what I mean. There's the team there that can like go and consistently like take down Spirit, so like Vitality don't have to worry about them. But will there be a team that can somehow just take down Vitality every now and again, so Spirit can just be the ones to be like teehee? Like if MOUZ aren't there, maybe. Or Vitality have already knocked MOUZ out. Yeah, no. I'm down. I'm it. Snappy. Come in and do your fucking job.
It sounds weird. I feel like the only team that can beat Vitality is like, other than MOUZ, is like the Mongols. Just feel like they've got something about them. They're harder to play against in a sense because they're just.
I think that's fucking mental, Elliott. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's fucking mental. I'll say I think the best hope is Liquid because I'm gonna like hedge some bets on that team and then just like never mention them again if they go bad.
I don't know.
We'll avoid them on the podcast. It'll be great.
I just think Mongols could be. I don't know. Mongols are just slightly different to everyone else. They're just a bit of a wild card, a little bit, but they're also really, really good and can just beat the best teams in the world. I feel like our hopes are on them. Maybe.
Isn't that strange still? I know we both really like the Mongols, but isn't it strange that we're pinning hopes on an Asian team to be actually something more than entertaining?
Yeah.
Because like we always just had Tai Lu, where it's like they are fun to watch. They're a bit rubbish, but they're fun to watch. Now it's like we have the Mongols, and they could win something.
Yeah, they actually could win something. They probably won't. but they could.
Probably not. But
Like, they're the best team in the world as an English player. These are uncharted waters.
do you know what they could win? PGL Bucharest.
They really could.
In
I
all
really hope
seriousness,
they do. They need a trophy.
Are they the highest? No, G2 are the highest ranked team on HLTV's ranking. I imagine the Mongols are. Yeah, the Mongols are the highest Valve ranked team at Bucharest, but G2 are on HLTV's.
We do not recognise HLTV rankings.
No, we don't. Not anymore.
The superior Valve rankings.
So yeah, like you look at that, and are the Mongols the favourites for that event? They might be. They're
the best team, but they're. You just don't. I don't know what it is that you just don't ever think they're going to win, even though.
Do you know what?
They
Actually,
really can. It's really hard to.
I know what I said about Na'Vi earlier being a decider for Eternal Fire. That event's a decider for Eternal Fire and the Mongols.
Yeah, and neither of them will win it.
No, which means like G2.
That's their lot.
G2 FaZe Falcons. No, I know who's winning that event.
FaZe are winning it.
It'll be FaZe or Virtus Pro. I promise you now it'll be one of those two teams.
There's no way Virtus Pro win it, man.
Watch them fucking do it.
Okay.
Right.
I'll watch them, but
anyway, let's wrap up the event.
Yeah,
I need
to go to sleep.
The final, mate. Banger. Actually was really good. I can't believe it went the way it did after starting with a 13-0 because MOUZ looked fucking hopeless.
Did MOUZ look hopeless, or did Vitality just look like the greatest team who've ever played the game?
Well, yeah, there is that.
Because Vitality really did look like the greatest team who's ever played the game, and they haven't lost a series in like 4 years or something ridiculous.
They're just really good, aren't they?
They're really, really good.
Even to the point when like MOUZ have won 2 maps. They're 13-11 and they could have easily gone to overtimes. Like, ridiculous.
It's at the point. I don't know. It's only been 3 events for Vitality, but they've been so dominant in them. I said before, like when Vitality win, they feel unbeatable. I said that before, Rops, and now it's even more. And I remember you saying when they won something, it was really good because now we weren't going to have a dominant team. I wonder how that's worked out. But it's gotten to the point now in the newsletter where Vitality won, and our story about the final was exclusively about MOUZ. Because taking 2 maps off of Vitality was that impressive.
Yeah, I was like, I hadn't read your story, so I opened the newsletter. I guess it was this morning, wasn't it? Yeah, I opened the newsletter. I was like, let's read Elliott's story, what he had to say about the final. And then it was like, it was the fucking header of like Spinks and Brollan. And I was like, why the fuck has Andy done that? That's really strange. Like, Vitality won, does he know? And then I looked in Discord. I read the story, and then I looked in Discord and saw that you'd actually requested that. And I was like, do you know what? Fair enough. Like, I don't want to talk about them either.
Who got an MVP? Yeah, great. He does it every fucking event now. It's boring. Let's
really
talk about MOUZ.
I'm already tired of them.
Yeah. It's always like, we can keep writing about Vitality winning. The story's not going to change. Like, they're still really good. Let's talk about the fact that MOUZ made one of the most unpopular roster moves of all time and leveled up, and they're genuinely the second best team in the world. How?
Yeah.
It
is insane.
Know how it happened.
It's insane. And like, there are still things we can say about Vitality. You know, like we can have the conversation of how long do we think this goes on for. Personally, I think they'll bottle the major somehow, and then have like a really disappointing few months, and then probably just get back to this bullshit.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, you know, we can say, like, will we one day talk about them as the greatest team of all time? And it just becomes pure speculation because the only thing you can say about them right now is they're just bloody good. So I would rather talk about MOUZ.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk about Spinks just being so valuable and Torsey being so much better than he was. Like,
yeah. The fact that Spinks is actually so good that it doesn't matter what they lost. Like so good a player, and he's so like resilient. He's so like ice cold. He's actually, I think that's part of the reason they're better now on stage is that they have a player who's won shit before, and he's just like, yeah, like lads, just follow me. Like it's,
and
he's so good that it doesn't matter they lost the game either.
I imagine as well he's also probably quite self-sufficient, in that like when he came in, they probably didn't have to like build too many strats around him because he can just kind of see the strat and be like, I know what I've got to do. Yeah. Like you guys, like you fucking leave me, I'll be there when you need me. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And he just is.
High IQ.
He's just so good. And again, like Brollan just continues to impress me.
Yeah.
Like, he deserves a lot of credit.
I don't know how Brollan has gone from the player we saw on NIF to this in, 2 years? 1 year?
It's probably about 18 months now.
One of his first...
His first event
was Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it was World Final 23, so 16 months?
Yeah. He's had 16 months on MOUZ, and he's transformed from, let's be fair, a crap player on an IP to seemingly a world-class in-game leader.
Yeah.
I just don't know how this has happened.
And in the meantime, also made himself a pretty solid member of a very competitive MOUZ team, and then was still like, I'll throw it all away to be a good IGL. And fair play to him for backing himself.
Yeah, fair play. The results speak for themselves. I can't even hate. And I'm trying.
I'm past the point of trying to hate, and I'm now just like, I really hope that this isn't just like a honeymoon thing, and you actually keep this up, because I just like it as a story. Like, it's quite good in a time where we, I think it happens with AWPers and IGLs at the moment, where you look at these teams, they're like, maybe could do with a better AWPer, or they could do with a better IGL, and then you look at it and you're like, fucking hell, there is just no one, is there? Like, and all these stars start becoming fucking IGLs, and it lasts longer than FNS on Cloud9. Like, so I just really like MOUZ right now. Call them auraless if you want. They do have a lack of aura, but I don't fucking care. They're entertaining me.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
I hope they stay at this level. But anyway, we kind of mentioned PGL Bucharest. We're not going to mention it anymore today.
We'll talk about it next week.
It's 6 days away. There's no point giving predictions until next week. But Virtus Pro are winning it. And
mental.
Vitality will probably teleport on stage and win it anyway. Some stupid shit like that. So with that, I've been Sam. My Twitter is @AnimoCS2. There's a 1 in place of the I. He's Elliott @AZESC. Mac and James, you're still around. You do things. Mac's an editor. James makes thumbnails, producer, I guess.
Yeah.
So follow them as well. I don't know why. They don't have any opinions, and if they did, we wouldn't let them say them. So just follow us too. Actually, fuck them. We'll catch you next week.